You're watching TV Guide Broadband, online, on demand.
Today's guest had the dubious task of saving Nicole Kidman from a crazed killer in Dead Calm. He also is one of the few to have run with the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Sam Neill currently stars as the Power Lord Chancellor Cardinal Wolsey in the dramatic Showtime series The Tudors. Sam Neill, ladies and gentlemen, come on. I actually just confessed to you before the interview, I don't know if it's the accent or your credits, but I kind of feel like I need to pull it together. I kind of feel like I'm talking to a cop on the side of the highway, you know, like, no, sir, I haven't been drinking, sir.
Yes, it's the natural authority.
Yeah.
I was just born that way.
Yeah,
Thanks, John. It's a compliment.
You're very regal. Let's talk about your new series. It's about King Henry VIII. Tell us about it.
Well, it's actually, the first 10 hours is really 2 years in Henry's life. And so it's a kind of a tumultuous period. You know the old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well, these are very interesting times. They're dangerous and sexy and I had a look at it last week and I saw the first 6 hours and I thought this is a very cool thing to be in.
Yeah, they wear great hats during that time.
Well, my hat, as you see, was left something to be desired, but that's what happens when you're a cardinal in the church, you know. You have to put up with the hats.
I think that actually generated the phrase hat head. That's what it comes from, because that, you know, that's leaving an indentation. Now, tell us about this guy, Lord Chancellor Thomas Wolsey. What a wonderful name.
Well, Wolsey was an extremely powerful and power-hungry guy who ran a very tight ship. He was the Lord Chancellor of England, which is the kind of equivalent to the Prime Minister now. So he was Henry's right-hand man, and an extraordinarily adept politician. He became extremely wealthy, and he was a great sinner as well, which kind of... that was one of the things I enjoyed about him. He wasn't just, you know, the ideal cardinal. He was also, you know, there were a lot of things that were pretty undesirable about him.
Why wouldn't you want to be a cardinal and a party boy?
Yeah, that was Wolsey.
Yeah. Are you a history buff? Were you familiar with these characters before you?
Yeah, I was very much familiar with it. But what I was, you know, this series was written by Michael Hurst, who wrote Elizabeth, you know, the film that Kate Blanchett did, which I thought was magnificent. And so when I was very receptive to these scripts, I thought this is fantastic because it's a side of Henry VIII and all that period of history that you don't see before. It's obviously it's full of, you know, all those great things like sex and violence and so on, but it's also kind of beautiful and romantic and it's kind of sort of history with an immediacy. It doesn't. It's not too po-faced, you know.
Right. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers plays Henry VIII. Is he ruthless enough to pull this character off?
Well, Johnny is a phenomenal actor. He's a kind of young and sexy guy, and so it's about Henry when he was a young and sexy guy who wasn't the, you know, the big roly-poly, you know. A kind of psychopath that we're more familiar with. But yeah, he's extremely charismatic, Johnny, and I think he's a revelation in this. He really is.
Because when I heard that he was in it, I thought this guy must be going through 8 hours of prosthetics every day to put on hundreds of pounds of weight and age. I understand that you almost got the role of James Bond before Timothy Dalton. Is that true?
You know, this is, I'm always being asked this question, and I was never going to be James Bond, and I never wanted to be James Bond.
I did. And nobody ever asked me.
I'm amazed that you were overlooked because you've got everything you need, and I don't, and really, you know, I would have been a terrible Bond anyway. But I did have an agent that pushed me into an audition, and it was a miserable experience, and I was really happy not to be playing Bond. But and the guys that have played it, you know, have been so much better than me and that kind of thing. And I'm really impressed by Daniel Craig, for instance. I think he's fantastic.
I really enjoyed that film, but I think you sell yourself short. I think you would have been a terrific Bond.
You're so kind. Thank you.
I'm a kiss ass, is what I am.